Welcome to this little film. It's meant mainly for AS Film Studies students, and it's about all the basics you need to know before you go on and write about the film industry in more detail. So students are studying the British and American film industry, so you have to know different types of British and American films. First of all, we're going to look at American films. The types of films that people are most familiar with are American Hollywood films. So Hollywood is an industry that dominates global film production, and anything made by Fox, Paramount, NBC Universal, Sony, Warner Brothers or Disney is called a Hollywood film. However, lots of films are made in America but not by Hollywood, and these are known as American independents. And if we can add to these British films are made very often just on their own by individuals wanting to make a film who get a film company together. These are known as British independent films. But there's also another type of British film that you need to know about. Now, a lot of films are made by Hollywood who actually work in the UK because Hollywood gets tax breaks and it can be cheaper to work in the UK. And also there's a lot of filmmaking expertise in the UK that can also make it more cost effective. So Hollywood working in the UK, things like James Bond or Harry Potter, as many others, are known as British inward productions. Another thing you need to know about is different types of film releases. So when films go into cinemas, they get a particular type of release. Okay, so the first we're going to look at is a saturation release, and big blockbuster films, big Hollywood films tend to get this sort of release. So films like The Hobbit appear in every sort of multiplex nationwide. So The Hobbit, I think, was first on in about 565 cinemas nationwide. A different type of release is for films that maybe aren't expected to attract as big an audience. And this is something called a wide release, and they're on about 100 cinemas across the country. If they're popular, then they can be put on in more cinemas. Another type of release is something called a limited release, and films that aren't expected to attract as bigger audiences as other films might be put on this. So this means appearing in maybe the art house cinemas across the nation. So for example, Northern Soul, the film, started off as a limited release. And finally, if a distributor and cinema wants to test out how popular a film might be, they might put it on in key cities, see what sort of audience is attracted, and if it's popular, they will spread it more widely around other cinemas across the country. Something else I think you need to know about is that any company within the film industry can usually be labelled by one of the following categories, and will fit into one of the following categories. First one of these is production, and production companies are the organisations, the studios that actually make the films. The next type of film company is a distribution company, and I would say this is the most powerful area of film. Distribution companies negotiate with the production companies, they market and promote the films, and they negotiate with cinemas to get them on particular types of releases within cinemas. Finally, for this section are exhibition. So exhibition really means the cinemas, and cinemas have to be run independently of production and distribution. So with this information we can start to make some sense of films. I've got this information from IMDb on the company's information. It's on for all films, and it's well worth having a look at for all the films we're studying. For The Hobbit, we can see the production companies here are listed. There's usually more than one. If we take the top one as being the most important one, New Line Cinemas are owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers are one of the Hollywood studios. This means The Hobbit is a Hollywood film. Here, if we look down at the distributors, it also tells us something about The Hobbit. It also tells us that Warner Brothers, as well as making films, being a production company, are a distribution company as well. This means any film made by Warner Brothers will automatically get powerful distribution. That means they will get a lot of marketing, promotion, and they will have power to negotiate with the cinemas in order to get this film on as big a release as possible. Okay, and something else that tells us why Hollywood is so powerful is that each of the Hollywood Studios, which you can see in white there, is owned by something called a conglomerate organisation. A conglomerate is a big organisation made up of many different areas of media organisations. Now this gives each film the potential to be advertised or promoted through television, newspapers, magazines, radio, whatever it is that is owned by that conglomerate company. The names of the conglomerate companies you can see in pink in brackets. And what gives Hollywood even more power, each of the Hollywood studios own their own distribution company as well. So films made by the studios are guaranteed to get a distribution. Now this isn't the case with all films. If a film's an independent, it might struggle, as Northern Soul did, to actually get a distribution deal. So some films are made and never seen by an audience. However, there are some distributors that are independent of the big Hollywood conglomerates and studios, and you might see their names if you're watching films and DVDs. So the big independent distributors are Lionsgate, Studio Canal and Miramax, amongst a few others. Something else that I think you need to show an awareness of, and that is marketing. So marketing is something we talk about with film distribution. So what does marketing aim to do? So the first thing you can say it tries to do is to create an awareness of the film. If audiences aren't aware that a film's coming out, is going to be in cinemas, then there's no chance an audience is going to go and watch that film. So awareness is one thing, but there's also got to be desirability created for the film. So desirability can be created by making it clear what genre it is. A lot of audiences will choose to watch a film based on the genre that they recognise. It could be use of stars, it could be an intriguing narrative that is created through the promotional campaign. It could be a star director or other interests. And finally, a film aims to create an exchange of money. So this could be through box office, actually going to see the film at the cinema, or it could be through DVD, or it could be through video on demand, or it could even be through merchandising that is associated with the film.